The Venmo request arrived at 11:47 on a Sunday night. Amount requested $9,400. Note, 18 years of being mom and dad's favorite. I stared at the screen until the little blue button blurred. My sister Brooke had added a broken heart emoji after the note. Then, 30 seconds later, she sent a text. Do not pretend you do not understand. I did understand. At least, I understood the story she had been telling for years. Natalie was the favorite. Natalie got the praise. Natalie got the good grades. Natalie made mom proud. Natalie became the successful daughter. Brooke got compared. Brooke got criticized. Brooke had to fight for attention. That was the version my sister repeated at therapy, family dinners, birthday speeches, and eventually online. She had turned our childhood into a trial where I was both the winner and the person responsible for her loss. But I also knew what $9,400 meant. It was not a symbolic number. It was exact. Too exact. And Brooke never chose numbers carefully unless she thought she could defend them. I opened the request details. She had attached a note. $500 per year from age 5 to 18 for unequal birthdays, activities, school support, and emotional favoritism, plus $2,400 for the college apartment mom and dad helped you get. I read it twice. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because the apartment she mentioned had been a basement studio with mold in one corner and a boiler that knocked through the night. Mom and dad had not paid for it. I had. I worked 30 hours a week at a pharmacy during college. The only thing my parents contributed was the deposit. And the deposit had come from my grandmother's graduation check. Brooke knew that. Or she once knew it. Memory changes when resentment needs structure. My phone rang. Brooke. I let it ring. Then a second text arrived. This is not a joke. I am done carrying the damage alone. A third. Pay it or I am sending the full story to the family. That was when the anger arrived. Not at the money. At the threat. Our family had gathered earlier that evening for my parents' 36th anniversary. It was the first large dinner after Dad's retirement and the first time in months Brooke and I had been in the same room. The dinner was held at a restaurant called Bellwether House, the kind of place with white tablecloths, tiny lamps, and menus that did not list dollar signs. Because if I did not make the reservation, no one would. Brooke arrived 40 minutes late wearing a green dress and carrying no card. She hugged Mom, kissed Dad, and immediately asked whether the wine was expensive. I had brought the framed family photo. I had also paid the deposit. At dessert, Dad gave a small speech. He thanked all of us for coming. He praised Brooke for raising 2 children while returning to school part-time. Then he looked at me. Natalie, he said, you have always been the one who keeps this family standing. The words were simple, but I saw Brooke's face change. She looked down. Her husband, Eric, touched her arm. Mom continued talking. No one else seemed to notice. I did. I always noticed. After dinner, Brooke left without saying goodbye to me. 4 hours later, she requested $9,400 for 18 years of being the favorite. I sat on the edge of my bed with the phone in my hand and thought about paying it. Not seriously. Emotionally. The old reflex. Make the conflict disappear. Brooke cried harder. I stayed calmer. So the family taught both of us the same lesson from opposite directions. Her pain gets attention. My discomfort gets work. When we were children, if Brooke screamed, Mom negotiated. If I became quiet, Mom said I was mature. At 13, I learned that mature often meant the person adults could disappoint without consequences. I could send the money. It would not ruin me. I was 36 and worked as a financial controller for a regional healthcare company. I owned a modest townhouse. I had savings. I had no children. Brooke knew all of that. Inside my family, my stability had become community property. But paying would not end the story. It would confirm it. Brooke would keep the screenshot of the payment. She would tell herself I admitted the debt. She would tell the family I finally accepted the truth. And the next time she needed money, the past would grow another price. So I did not pay. I did not argue. I sent one screenshot. It was from a spreadsheet our father had emailed me 2 years earlier by mistake. The file was titled Family Support Summary. I had never shown Brooke. I had never intended to. It listed 18 years of major financial support given to each daughter. tuition, cars, rent, medical bills, trips, credit cards, business losses, emergency payments. My total, $31,850. Brooke's total, $167,420. Difference, $135,570. At the bottom, in Dad's own note, were the words, Brooke has always needed more. Natalie will be okay. I cropped the screenshot so Brooke could see the totals in the note. Then I sent it without explanation. 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then returned. You made this, I replied with one sentence. Ask Dad. She called again. I answered this time. What is that? She demanded. A screenshot. Do not be cute. I am not. Where did you get it? Dad sent me the spreadsheet. Why would he make that? You should ask him. Her breathing changed. This does not prove favoritism. I did not say it did. You are trying to say they gave me more. They did. That was because I had needs. Yes? And you had everything. No. You had their approval. I looked toward my dark bedroom window. Is approval worth $135,000? She became quiet, then angry. You think money is the only thing that matters? You requested money. That is different. How? Because I am asking you to repay emotional damage. With a number built from expenses that did not happen. The exact number is symbolic. No, it is $9,400. She began crying. I heard Eric in the background asking what happened. Brooke lowered her voice. You always do this. Do what? Turn everything into records. You sent an invoice for childhood. That is not what this is. It is a payment request with line items. You never admit what they did to me. What did they do? They compared me to you. Yes. You were perfect. No. You never got in trouble. I hid it better. You got scholarships. I studied. She made a wounded sound. There it was. The family wound neither of us had named. My effort felt like judgment to her. Not because I judged her, because our parents used my achievements as a tool. Why can't you plan like Natalie? Why can't you save like Natalie? Why can't you finish what you start like Natalie? I hated those comparisons too. But Brooke had spent years aiming her anger at the person whose name was used instead of the people using it. Brooke, I said, I was not responsible for Mom and Dad comparing us. You benefited. Sometimes. The word surprised her. You admit it. I admit they praised me in ways that hurt you. Silence. But they also made me responsible for everything because I was the capable one. That is not the same. No, it is different. She laughed bitterly. You always need your pain to be equal. I do not. You cannot let me have one thing. What thing? The truth. I closed my eyes. You requested $9,400 from me. You can afford it. There it was. Not justice. Availability. She did not need the money because the number represented healing. She needed it because she believed I could pay. What is the money for? I asked. She stopped. What? What will you use it for? That is none of your business. It becomes my business when you call it repayment. It is for me. For what? I said emotional damages. Venmo does not sell those. She hung up. The next morning, our family group chat exploded. Brooke posted the screenshot I had sent. Then she wrote, Natalie has been secretly tracking every dollar Mom and Dad ever spent on me to prove I was not mistreated. This is what she does. She turns love into accounting. Mom replied first. What spreadsheet is this? Dad did not answer. Brooke continued. She sent it after I asked her to acknowledge 18 years of favoritism. Our Aunt Susan wrote, What did you ask her to do? Brooke avoided the question. I posted the Venmo request. Nothing else. The group chat became silent. Then Dad called me. His first words were, Why did you send that screenshot? Not, why did Brooke request $9,400? Not, are you okay? Why did you send that screenshot? Because she invoiced me for being your favorite. He sighed. You knew that spreadsheet was private? I did not know it existed until you emailed it to me. That was a mistake. I know. You should have deleted it. I almost did. Why didn't you? Because the note at the bottom had stayed inside me. Brooke has always needed more. Natalie will be okay. That sentence explained my entire family role. I kept the file because, for the first time, I saw the system in numbers. Not imagination, not sensitivity, numbers. Every emergency payment to Brooke. Every quiet assumption about me. Every time my parents protected her from consequences and called my survival proof that I needed less. I kept it because it explained things, I said. Dad became quiet. What things? Why you paid Brooke's credit cards but told me student loans build character. That is not fair. It is in the sheet. She had children. Not at 19. She struggled. So did I. You never said. I did. When? When I asked for help after my scholarship was delayed. He paused. I remembered the call perfectly. Dad had said, "You will figure it out." Then he transferred Brooke $1,800 because she wanted to leave a roommate situation she did not like. I do not remember, he said. I do. He lowered his voice. Your sister is upset. I know. She believes the spreadsheet proves you and I were discussing her. We were not. Then tell her that? I already told her to ask you. Why bring me into this? The question almost made me laugh. He had created the spreadsheet. He had created the note. He had made years of choices, but my screenshot brought him into it. Not the decisions, the evidence. Because it is your record, I said. Dad exhaled. I made it for estate planning. That changed the temperature of the conversation. What estate planning? Nothing immediate. Then why track support? To create fairness. I looked at the screenshot again. My total, $31,850. Brooks, $167,420. What kind of fairness? He did not answer. Dad, the will accounts for lifetime support. My body became still. How? We are not discussing this by phone. Then when? Your mother and I need time. For what? To review. I heard fear now. Not sadness. Fear. The Venmo request had opened something larger than sibling resentment. The spreadsheet was connected to my parents' estate. Brooke did not know. I barely knew. And Dad did not want either of us asking questions. By noon, Mom called. She was crying. Why is there a spreadsheet of what we spent on our children? Ask Dad. He says it was for planning. That is what he told me. You knew? I knew the file existed. I did not know why. Why did you not tell me? Because I assumed you both knew. I did not. Her voice changed. Not hurt now. Angry. Did he include the money from my mother? What money? The inheritance. Grandma Ruth had died 9 years earlier. Mom received something, but she never discussed the amount. What does that have to do with Brooke? Mom became quiet. Then she said, nothing. It clearly had everything to do with Brooke. The Venmo request was no longer the strangest financial demand in the family. It was only the first one said aloud. Mom refused to explain the inheritance. That told me Dad's spreadsheet was not the only record someone wanted hidden. I opened the original file on my laptop. There were 4 tabs. The screenshot came from the first one. Lifetime support. The second was titled Education. The third was labeled Estate Equalization. The fourth was hidden. I only knew because the small navigation arrow showed one more sheet than I could see. I worked with financial systems every day. Hidden tabs do not stay hidden long. I made a copy of the file and revealed it. The fourth sheet was titled Ruth Funds, my grandmother's name. The tab listed a starting balance of $182,000. Date received, 9 years earlier. Purpose, equal advancement funds for Natalie and Brooke. Suggested allocation, $91,000 per child. Actual allocation to Natalie, $8,000. Actual allocation to Brooke, $74,500. Remaining unallocated, $99,500. Then a series of transfers. home renovation, family taxes, Brooke emergency, Brooke tuition, Brooke vehicle, Brooke legal, Brooke business. The final balance was zero. I read each line slowly. Grandma Ruth had left money intended equally for both granddaughters. I had received $8,000. At the time, Mom told me it was Grandma's small graduation gift. Brooke received $74,500 directly. The rest was used by my parents, with more than half eventually connected to Brooke. No one had told me. At the bottom of the sheet, Dad had written, Natalie was not informed of intended equal allocation. Consider adjustment in estate. I sat at my kitchen table until the refrigerator motor turned on and startled me. The screenshot I sent Brooke had shown that she received more support. The full file proved something worse. My parents knew part of that support had come from money intended for me. I called Dad. He did not answer. I called again. Then Mom. No answer. I sent one message to both. I found the Ruth Funds tab. Dad called within 1 minute. Do not send that to Brooke. No greeting. No denial. Just instruction. Why? Because she does not know. She knows she got money. She does not know where all of it came from. Neither did I. Dad became quiet. How much was Grandma's inheritance? I asked. You saw the sheet. I want you to say it. 182,000. For both of us? That was her intention. Was it legally required? She left it to your mother with a letter, so Mom controlled it. Yes, and she gave me 8,000. You were already finishing school. What does that mean? You had scholarships. Grandma did not say give less to the child with scholarships. No. What happened to the 91,000 intended for me? Dad sighed. You cannot simplify 18 years into one total. I am reading a spreadsheet you created. That spreadsheet was meant to help fix the imbalance. When? In the estate. After you die? Yes. I stood and walked toward the window. Outside, a neighbor was watering flowers. The normality made the conversation feel unreal. You decided to keep my money, spend it, and compensate me later from an inheritance that may or may not exist. We did not keep your money. Mom received it for both of us. The letter was not legally binding. That is your defense? No. Then what is? Your sister was going through a hard time. For 9 years? He became angry. This is why we did not tell you. Because I would object? Because you would reduce everything to fairness. I laughed. What should I reduce it to? Family need. Whose need? Brooke had children young. Eric lost work. She had medical costs. She tried school twice. And I paid rent, tuition, insurance, and loans. You managed. The word hit exactly where he expected it to. Managed. I had managed because no one came. I had worked, borrowed, skipped meals, shared textbooks, used a coat indoors because the basement apartment was cold. My ability to survive had been entered into the family ledger as evidence that I deserved less. So the spreadsheet is not proof I was the favorite, I said. Dad was quiet. It is proof I was the cheaper daughter. That is not what I meant. It is what you recorded. He lowered his voice. Your mother did not agree with every line. Did she know about the spreadsheet? Not the final version. Did she know you planned to adjust the will? Yes. What adjustment? We plan to leave you a larger share of the investment account. How much larger? That depends on the value. Does Brooke know? No. Then her request for $9,400 is about to become the smallest surprise in her week. Natalie, do not. Why are you protecting her from information about money she already received? Because she will feel guilty. I closed my eyes. And I should feel what? He had no answer. After the call, I did not send the hidden tab to Brooke. Not yet. Dad was right about one thing. Truth released in anger can become a weapon instead of a correction. I needed to know what the $9,400 was for. Brooke's request was emotional in language and financial in timing. The amount had to come from somewhere. I searched the family group chat. 2 months earlier, Brooke mentioned she was finally resolving the school mess. 3 weeks earlier, Eric missed Dad's retirement dinner because of bank issues. At the anniversary dinner, Brooke asked Mom twice whether she had talked to him. I had assumed they meant Dad. Maybe not. I called Eric. He answered carefully. Is Brooke with you? I asked. No. Do you know she requested $9,400 from me? Silence. Then, she told me she might ask. For what? You should ask her. I did. What did she say? 18 years of favoritism. Eric sighed. That is not what the money is for. I know. He did not speak. Eric, we are behind on the second mortgage. How far? 3 months. And the amount? He paused. $9,412. There it was. The request was not symbolic. It was rounded debt. What second mortgage? We took it for Brooke's degree program in the kitchen. Which degree program? The design certification. She left that program. Yes. When? Last year. Why are you only telling me now? Because this is between Brooke and me. She requested the money from me. She said your parents owed her compensation. Did you agree? No. The answer came quickly. I told her not to send it. Why didn't she ask Mom and Dad? Eric laughed without humor. She did. What happened? Your mother said the family funds were exhausted. Which family funds? I do not know. I did. Grandma Ruth's money. Brooke had been receiving support from it for years and believed it was an endless family account. Now it was gone. So she turned to me. Not because I had caused her pain, because I was the next available source. Are you losing the house? I asked. Not yet. Can you afford it going forward? With both incomes and no new emergencies, maybe. Does Brooke work now? Part-time. Why? School. The kids. Anxiety. The school she left? Eric became defensive. You do not know everything. No, that is why I am asking. He was quiet. Then he said, Brooke grew up believing your parents would fix things. That sentence carried no accusation, only exhaustion. She also grew up believing you were the reason they expected more from her, he continued. I know. She talks about you when money gets bad. What does she say? That you had the easy path. I looked at the hidden spreadsheet. 8,000 from Grandma. 31,000 total support. Scholarships and 3 jobs. Easy path. What do you believe? I asked. Eric took a long time. I believe comparisons hurt her. That was not my question. I believe you worked hard. Does she know about Grandma's money? No. Do you? Another pause. Your mother told us some help came from an inheritance. How much did Brooke receive? I do not know. Did Mom ever say it was intended for both daughters? No. That mattered. Brooke had accepted the money, but she may not have known it partly belonged to me. Responsibility has levels. Mom made the decision. Dad recorded it and stayed silent. Brooke benefited, expected more, and later demanded money from me. Eric looked away until the debt became dangerous. Everyone had a role. I needed mine not to become another rescue. I am not paying the Venmo request, I said. I did not call to ask you. I know. What are you going to do with the spreadsheet? I do not know yet. Please do not use it to destroy her. I sent one screenshot after she threatened me. I know. Did she show you the request? Yes. And? I told her it was wrong. Thank you. He sounded surprised, then tired. She is not evil, Natalie. I know. She is scared. I know. Sometimes fear makes people cruel. Yes, but it does not make the cruelty imaginary. He became quiet. No, he said, it does not. That was the first honest conversation Eric and I had ever had. The family group chat remained active. Mom wrote that private financial documents had been taken out of context. Brooke wrote that money could not measure emotional neglect. Aunt Susan asked again what the $9,400 was for. Brooke left the chat. Then she posted online. Not my name. Enough details. When your golden child sibling responds to childhood trauma with a spreadsheet proving how much money your parents spent on you. Comments poured in. Some supported her. Some asked why she was billing a sibling. Brooke deleted those questions. Then she posted a short video about financial abuse inside families. I watched 20 seconds. She said, "Sometimes the favorite child hoards proof to invalidate what happened to you." I closed the video. The screenshot had done more than answer her request. It had threatened the identity she had built. If Brooke was not the unsupported sister, who was she? If I was not the favorite, who was I? Families assign roles because roles reduce complexity. One child is difficult. One is capable. One is selfish. One is generous. Once assigned, every new fact gets bent to fit. Brooke's debt became evidence of neglect. My stability became evidence of favoritism. The spreadsheet did not fit. So she attacked the spreadsheet. 2 days later, I received a certified letter. Brooke had hired an attorney. The letter demanded that I stop distributing private financial information and compensate her for reputational harm caused by the screenshot. No lawsuit had been filed, but the demand included the original $9,400, now described as a proposed family settlement. I read the letter twice. Then I called my friend Maya, an attorney who handled employment and civil disputes. She laughed when she reached the phrase family settlement. "Did you agree to a settlement?" "No." "Did you distribute the screenshot publicly?" "No." "I sent it to Brooke. She posted it to the family." "Did you alter it?" "No." "Did the financial data belong to her?" "It concerned support our parents gave both of us." "Then the privacy argument is weak and the money demand is nonsense." "Can we respond without escalating?" "We can respond by asking for the legal basis, proof of damages, and complete explanation of the requested amount." She will say emotional favoritism. Courts do not price sisterhood through Venmo. I almost smiled. Maya continued. "But there is a bigger issue." "What?" "The grandmother funds." I had sent her the full spreadsheet. "If your grandmother's letter created a trust obligation, your mother may have mishandled money intended for you." "Dad says it was not legally binding." "Have you seen the letter?" "No." "Then Dad's opinion is not evidence." The sentence echoed the entire conflict. Opinion is not evidence. Family story is not evidence. Need is not consent. Maya advised me to request Grandma's estate file from the attorney who handled it. The lawyer had retired, but his records had transferred to another firm. I submitted a formal request as a named person in Grandma's letter. 3 days later, a scanned document arrived. It was not a casual note. It was a memorandum attached to Mom's inheritance distribution. "I leave these funds to my daughter Elaine, with the strong and specific direction that $91,000 be used for the education, housing, or advancement of each granddaughter, Natalie and Brooke, in equal measure." Legally, the funds belonged to Mom, but the intent was unmistakable. There was also a signed acknowledgement. Mom had signed beneath the words, "I understand and accept my mother's direction." The letter may not have created a formal trust. It created a promise. Mom had signed it. Then broken it. I sent the document to Dad. He called immediately. "Where did you get that?" "The estate attorney's file." "You had no right. My name is in it." "This will destroy your mother." "No, her decisions created it." "You do not understand the pressure she faced." "I understand she gave me 8,000 out of 91. You received other support." "The spreadsheet says 31 total. That number is incomplete." "Then complete it." He stopped. "Dad, send the source records. We do not have every receipt. You made exact totals. Some were estimates. Then we review them." He became angry. "This is not an audit." It became one when Brooke sent a bill. He hung up. That afternoon, Mom came to my townhouse. She did not call first. I saw her through the door camera. She held a cardboard box. I opened the door but did not invite her in. "What is that?" "Family records." She looked exhausted. No makeup. Hair pulled back. For the first time in years, she looked less like the manager of our family and more like someone who had lost control of the schedule. "Your father says you contacted the estate firm." "Yes." "You found my acknowledgement." "Yes." She looked toward the street. "I thought I could replace the money." "When?" "Later." "With what?" "Your father's bonuses?" "The house. Investments. But you spent those too. Her eyes filled. We raised 2 daughters. Life happened. Most of Grandma's money went to Brooke and family expenses. She needed more. And I needed nothing? You had scholarships. Grandma's direction included housing and advancement. You bought a townhouse. At 32, with my own down payment. You are doing well. Now, Mom's voice broke. I knew you would be okay. There it was again. The sentence that turned neglect into confidence. You did not know, I said. You decided. She looked at me. What is the difference? Knowing requires attention. The words hurt her. I continued. You did not know I lived on credit for 1 semester. You did not know my car was repossessed until I got it back. You did not know I delayed dental work for 2 years. You did not know because every time I started talking, Brooke had a bigger emergency. Mom began crying. I could not split myself equally. I did not need equal minutes. What did you need? For my stability not to become permission. She held the box tighter. I brought everything. Why? Because Brooke's attorney contacted us. My body became still. What did they ask? For the estate plan and lifetime support records. Brooke was not only threatening me, she was challenging the accounting. Maybe she believed the spreadsheet would reduce her inheritance. She was right. Does Brooke know the estate adjustment? Mom nodded. Your father told her yesterday. How did she react? She said you manipulated him. I laughed softly. Of course. She thinks the totals are false. Are they? Mom looked down. Some categories were counted differently. What does that mean? Your father included gifts to the children as support to Brooke. Her children are her household. He included part of the family trips. Who went? All of us sometimes. Then why only Brooke? He was trying to compensate you. The spreadsheet was not pure fact. It was Dad's attempt to create fairness after years of hidden decisions. That did not make it worthless. It made the source records essential. What is in the box? I asked. Bank statements, tuition payments, letters, the estate drafts. Leave it. She looked surprised. You are not inviting me in? No. Natalie, we can review records with attorneys present. You are treating us like strangers. No, I am treating money like money because family turned it into a weapon. She placed the box inside the doorway. Before leaving, she said, Brooke thinks you hate her. I do not. Do you love her? The question felt unfair. Then I decided to answer honestly. I love who she is when she is not trying to make me pay for who our parents were. Mom closed her eyes. Then left. Inside the box was a second screenshot, one Brooke had never seen. It was a text exchange between Mom and Dad from 11 years earlier. Dad, we cannot keep taking from Natalie's share. Mom, she will get scholarships. Brooke will not survive another failure. Dad, Natalie will remember. Mom, then tell her we believed in her. I sat on the floor beside the box. That was the screenshot I should have sent. Not because it showed who got more money, because it showed how my family turned belief into a substitute for support, and it showed that both parents knew exactly what they were doing. I did not send the second screenshot to Brooke. Not immediately. I gave the box to Maya and asked her to review everything with a family estate attorney. The records were messy, not criminal in the clean, dramatic way people imagine. No secret offshore account. No stolen signature. No forged will. Just years of choices made behind the language of family need. Mom received Grandma's money legally. She signed a moral acknowledgement, not a formal trust agreement. She spent it in ways Grandma had not intended. Dad objected sometimes, then helped record the imbalance instead of stopping it. Brooke accepted support without knowing every source. I accepted neglect without knowing there had been money meant for me. The harm was real. The remedy was complicated. Maya's estate colleague, David Lynn, explained the options. You could pursue a civil claim based on promise, reliance, or unjust enrichment, he said. But the case would be uncertain and expensive. I do not want to sue my parents. Good, because litigation will not make childhood fair. What would? Nothing. The answer was blunt. He continued. But records can prevent the same unfairness from being repeated in the estate. Dad's current will left 65% of the remaining financial assets to me and 35% to Brooke. The house was split equally. Personal items were separate. The adjustment was intended to compensate for lifetime support and Grandma's funds. Brooke's attorney had challenged the plan as evidence that our parents continued favoring me. The irony was almost perfect. The more money they had given Brooke, the more she believed the later correction proved I was preferred. "What does the estate contain?" I asked. David looked at the draft summary. House equity around 400,000, retirement and investments around 620, insurance depending on timing, total perhaps a little over 1 million. 65% instead of half might give me roughly 150,000 more than Brooke, close to Dad's lifetime support difference. He had built a delayed reimbursement into death. I hated that. Not because I did not want fairness, because it guaranteed the final family memory would be another comparison. What if the will were equal? I asked. David looked surprised. You would be giving up the adjustment. I know. Why? Because I do not want my parents' funeral to become a continuation of this fight. Maya leaned forward. Do not make a generous decision while you are hurt. I am not being generous. What are you being? Strategic. I wanted the grandma funds addressed now, not through inheritance, not through promises. Now, if Mom and Dad acknowledged the imbalance, created a repayment plan for part of my intended share, and stopped using the estate as a secret correction, then the will could be equal. David considered it. That may be more emotionally sustainable. Can they afford repayment? Not 90,000 immediately. I do not need 90,000 immediately. The word surprised me. A year earlier, I would have said I needed nothing. That was not true. Need is not only desperation. I needed acknowledgement. I needed protection from revision. I needed some of the money Grandma intended for me returned while the people responsible were alive enough to say why. We proposed mediation. Not a family dinner, not Mom's kitchen, a legal mediation office with separate rooms, written agendas, and no one allowed to leave with the documents. Brooke agreed because she believed she was negotiating the will. Mom agreed because she wanted the family conflict private. Dad agreed because, for once, there was no neutral position available. Eric came with Brooke. Our parents came together but sat apart. I came with Maya. The mediator was a retired judge named Helen Vargas. She had white hair, a calm voice, and no patience for emotional arithmetic. She began by placing the issues on a board. 1. Brooke's $9,400 demand. 2. Distribution of Grandma Ruth's advancement funds. 3. Accuracy of lifetime support records. 4. Current estate plan. 5. Family communication and future financial boundaries. Brooke interrupted. This makes my trauma look like an accounting dispute. Helen looked at her. You requested money. Brooke's face tightened. The amount was symbolic. Why $9,400? Silence. Eric stared at the table. Helen waited. Brooke finally said, That is what we owe on the mortgage. Mom turned toward her. You said the house was current. It was. When? Before Eric's commission changed. Dad looked at Eric. How long have you known? Eric answered quietly. 4 months. Mom's face became angry. You came to us. Yes. And then you went to Natalie? Brooke looked at me. I did not go to her. I asked her to acknowledge what she owed. Helen spoke. Would you have requested $9,400 if your mortgage were current? Brooke did not answer. That is an important question, Helen said. No, Brooke whispered. There it was. The request was not healing. It was emergency financing wrapped in childhood pain. I felt vindicated. Then sad. Brooke looked smaller once the number lost its moral story. Helen turned toward me. Did you send the screenshot to hurt your sister? Yes. The room changed. Maya glanced at me. I continued. I also sent it because the request was false, but I knew the note at the bottom would hurt her. Brooke looked at me. You enjoyed it. For about 10 seconds. That was honest. And then? Then I realized the spreadsheet hurt me too. Helen nodded. Good. We are not here to identify one innocent person and one villain. Mom spoke sharply. Natalie did nothing wrong. Everyone looked at her. Brooke laughed bitterly. There, right there. Mom turned. What? You defend her before anyone attacks her. I am trying to be fair. You always think she is reasonable, because she is being reasonable. Helen raised one hand. Elaine, comparisons are prohibited in this room. Mom stopped. Brooke's eyes filled. That moment mattered. The comparison was automatic. Even while trying to repair favoritism, Mom used my reasonableness to silence Brooke's emotion. Brooke had not invented that part. Helen turned toward Dad. Why did you create the spreadsheet? Dad folded his hands. For estate planning. Why not share it with both daughters? Because support was private. Private from whom? He did not answer. Helen continued. Did you believe the totals were accurate? Mostly. Did you count grandchildren's expenses as support to Brooke? Yes. Did you count gifts both daughters received equally? No. Did you include Natalie's scholarships as parental support? No. Did you include unpaid labor or caregiving? No. So the spreadsheet is a record of cash transfers, not a complete measure of favoritism. Dad nodded. Yes. Brooke looked at me. You sent it like it proved everything. It proved I did not receive more money. That was not my claim. Your Venmo note included unequal birthdays, activities, school support, and an apartment deposit. She looked away. Helen wrote on the board, financial inequality and emotional favoritism are separate questions. Then she asked Mom about Grandma's funds. Mom began with explanations. Brooke's school trouble, her anxiety, the children, the house renovation, family taxes. Helen stopped her. Did Ruth direct equal advancement funds? Yes. Did you sign an acknowledgement? Yes. Did Natalie receive her intended amount? No. Did Natalie know? No. Why not? Mom began crying. Because I knew she would say no. I felt the words land. Not because I would be difficult. Because I would protect my own share. Mom had hidden the plan because consent would have blocked it. Brooke stared at her. You told me Grandma wanted you to use the money where it was needed. She did. The letter says equal. She also believed in helping family. Did you tell me some of the tuition money was Natalie's? No. Brooke's face lost color. How much? Mom looked toward Dad. He answered. At least 60,000 of what supported you came from the pool intended partly for Natalie. Brooke stood. Eric reached for her. She moved away. You let me take that? You needed it, Mom said. You told me it was yours. It was legally mine. That is not the same. The sentence sounded like me. For the first time, Brooke saw herself not as the neglected daughter receiving overdue support, but as the person used to justify taking from someone else. She turned toward me. Did you know? Not until this week. You think I stole it. I think Mom made the decision. That is not what I asked. I thought carefully. You accepted more help without asking where it came from. Her face crumpled. So yes, I think you were comfortable not knowing. Eric closed his eyes. Brooke sat again. The room remained quiet. Then Dad said, so was I. Mom looked at him. He continued. I objected. Then I let it happen. I made the spreadsheet because numbers felt like action. They were not. I stared at my father. That was the most honest sentence he had ever spoken about our family. Helen asked whether Dad's estate adjustment was meant to repay Natalie. Yes. Did Brooke know? No. Did Natalie know? No. So you plan to correct one secret with another secret after your death? Dad looked down. Yes. Helen capped her marker. That is how family wars are created. No one argued. We broke for lunch. Brooke went outside alone. Eric stayed behind. Mom cried in the restroom. Dad sat in his chair reading Grandma's letter. I stood near the coffee machine, exhausted. Maya approached. You are doing well. I hate that sentence. Why? Because doing well is how people decide I can handle more. She nodded. Then you are not doing well. You are staying present. That was better. When mediation resumed, Helen asked each person to state what they wanted without explaining why. Brooke went first. I want the mortgage paid. I want the will equal. I want my family to admit Natalie was favored emotionally. Mom said, I want both daughters to stop hating me. Dad said, I want the financial imbalance corrected before we die. Eric said, I want Brooke and me to stop using family money as a plan. I said, I want the $9,400 request withdrawn. I want written acknowledgement of Grandma's intended equal funds. I want part of my share repaid during Mom and Dad's lifetime. I want the will equal after that. And I want no one to request money from me using childhood as a debt. Brooke stared. You want the will equal? Yes. Why? Because I do not want another hidden correction. You are giving up money. I am asking for honesty now. Mom looked at me with relief. Too much relief. I added, that does not mean no repayment. Her face changed. Helen asked Dad what they could afford. After reviewing their finances, the answer was not large. They could sell a small investment property inherited from Dad's uncle. After taxes and the remaining loan, it would produce around $82,000. They also had $30,000 in a non-retirement account. Paying everything at once would weaken their retirement. I did not want that. Not because they deserved protection from consequences, because creating a future emergency would send the problem back to us. We proposed, Mom and Dad would pay me $45,000 from the property sale. They would establish a written note for another $30,000 paid over 5 years. The remaining difference would be acknowledged but not pursued. Brooke's mortgage would not be paid by me or our parents. Instead, she and Eric would work with a housing counselor, sell if needed, and create a repayment plan. The will would be revised to an equal split after the first $45,000 payment and formal acknowledgement. The lifetime support spreadsheet would be preserved only as planning history, not proof of emotional favoritism. The Venmo demand and attorney letter would be withdrawn. No family member would post financial accusations online. Brooke stared at the numbers. So Natalie gets $75,000 now and I get nothing, Helen corrected her. Natalie recovers part of money directed to her by your grandmother. You previously received substantial advancement. That was years ago. Yes. I spent it. Yes. Brooke turned toward me. You already have money. I felt anger rise. Then I looked at her. You have already had mine. The room went silent. Brooke flinched. I did not apologize. Sometimes the sentence needs to remain. Eric spoke quietly. We should accept. Brooke looked at him. You are taking her side. I am taking our debt seriously. My parents can help. They already did. Mom began crying again. Brooke looked toward her. For 1 second, I saw the old system preparing to restart. Brooke in pain. Mom ready to rescue. Dad ready to allow it. Me ready to become the cost. Then Mom surprised me. We cannot pay your mortgage, she said. Brooke stared. You paid for Natalie's townhouse deposit. No, Mom said. She paid it. Dad's spreadsheet says housing. Dad answered. $8,000 from Grandma's money went toward her college deposit and later expenses. We did not fund the townhouse. Brooke looked at me. You bought it alone? Yes? Her face changed. The easy path was shrinking, not disappearing. Our parents had praised me. They had compared us. They had trusted me more. But the financial fantasy was collapsing. Brooke asked for time. Helen gave her 20 minutes. She and Eric went into a separate room. When they returned, Brooke's eyes were swollen. I will withdraw the request, she said. And the attorney letter? Helen asked. Yes. The online posts? I will delete them. Helen looked toward me. Is deletion enough? No. Brooke's face tightened. I want a correction. What kind? The truth. You requested $9,400 because of your mortgage. The screenshot was private. The financial record did not prove emotional favoritism one way or the other. Brooke laughed bitterly. You want me to humiliate myself. You publicly said I hoarded proof to invalidate you. You did. I sent it to you. You knew I would show people. No, I knew you threatened to. Helen intervened. A correction can be brief and non-detailed. Brooke agreed to write. I recently described a private conflict with my sister as a demand for compensation over childhood favoritism. The amount was connected to my own financial emergency, and my sister did not owe it. The screenshot she sent me was shared beyond our conversation by me. I regret making a private family dispute public. It was not warm. It was accurate. We signed a mediation outline that evening. Not the final agreement, but enough to stop the immediate war. Before leaving, Brooke stood beside me in the hallway. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she asked, "Do you really think I was comfortable not knowing?" "Yes." She looked hurt. "So were you." I considered it. She was right. I had known our parents treated us differently. I had known money appeared when Brooke needed it. I had chosen not to ask how much because asking would make the imbalance real. "I was," I said. She nodded. "That does not make us equal." "No. But it makes us sisters." I did not know what she meant. Maybe neither did she. Then she left. The agreement took 6 weeks to finalize. During those 6 weeks, our family existed mostly through attorneys, bank statements, and carefully written emails. It was the quietest we had ever been. At first, the silence felt like punishment. Then it felt like rest. Mom and Dad listed the investment property. Brooke and Eric met with a housing counselor. I returned to work and tried to remember that not every spreadsheet contained a family secret. The Venmo request remained pending for 11 days. Brooke did not cancel it. I did not decline it. The blue notification sat in the app like an open argument. Then, at 2:08 on a Thursday afternoon, it disappeared. No message. No apology. Just canceled. I expected to feel victorious. Instead, I felt sad. For 18 years, Brooke had collected memories that proved I was loved more. For 18 years, I had collected responsibilities that proved I was trusted less with care and more with survival. Both stories contain truth. Neither was the whole truth. The property sold for slightly less than expected. After taxes and debt, my parents received $78,000. They transferred $45,000 to a new account in my name. The payment memo read, "Partial fulfillment of Ruth's advancement direction. Not gift. Not support. Not family help. Fulfillment." The word mattered. I used part of the money to pay the final balance on my student loans. I placed the rest in an investment account labeled Ruth. Not because Grandma would have cared about labels, because I did. Dad signed the 5-year repayment note. Mom signed after asking whether the payment would finally make us even. I told her no. It made one financial issue clearer. It did not repair childhood. She looked disappointed. People sometimes apologize with the expectation that forgiveness is the receipt. Pay amount. Receive closure. Relationships do not work like that. Brooke and Eric listed their house. The first offer fell through. The second was lower than they wanted. Brooke called Mom in tears. Mom called me. Not to ask for money, to ask what she should say. "I do not know," I told her. "You are good with these things. I am not participating in their decision." "She needs support." "Then listen to her. What if she asks whether to accept?" "Tell her to ask the housing counselor." Mom became quiet. "This is very difficult for me." "I know." For once, her difficulty did not become my assignment. Brooke and Eric accepted the third offer. After paying the second mortgage, selling costs, and some credit card debt, they had enough for a rental deposit and a small emergency fund. They moved into a townhouse 20 minutes from their old neighborhood. The children changed schools. Brooke treated that as a tragedy. Her oldest son adjusted within a month. Her daughter loved the small playground behind the rental. Reality was less dramatic than Brooke feared. It usually is. Eric took extra contract work. Brooke increased her hours and finished one class at a time instead of enrolling in full programs she could not complete. For the first time, their plan depended on their income. Not Mom, not Dad, not me. Brooke hated it. Then she became good at it. That surprised all of us. Maybe most of all her. The correction post stayed online for 3 days before she archived it. That technically followed the agreement. I did not object. People who had supported her began asking uncomfortable questions. Some apologized to me privately. Most did not. Public certainty disappears faster than public judgment. Aunt Susan called. "I should not have assumed." "No." I thought this was about old emotional wounds. It was. It was also about a mortgage. Can both be true? Yes. That became the hardest lesson. Brooke had been hurt by comparison. She had also used that hurt to justify demanding money. Mom had tried to help her. She had also broken a promise to Grandma and taken from me. Dad wanted fairness. He had also waited until death to provide it, because living honesty was harder. I was financially neglected. I had also used a screenshot to wound my sister because, for 10 seconds, it felt good. No one was only one thing. That did not mean no one was responsible. 3 months after mediation, Brooke asked to meet for coffee. No spouses, no parents, no lawyers. I chose a cafe halfway between our homes. She arrived on time. That alone was new. She placed her phone face down on the table. No requests, she said. I looked at her. Venmo or emotional? Both? I almost smiled. We ordered coffee. For several minutes, we discussed the children, work, and Mom's new obsession with walking groups. Then Brooke said, I started therapy again. I waited. I told the therapist you were the favorite. What did she say? She asked what favorite meant. That sounds annoying. It was. She smiled briefly. I said you got approval. She asked what I got. What did you say? Rescue. The word sat between us. Approval and rescue. One child displayed. One child protected. Neither simply loved. Brooke continued. I thought rescue meant they loved me less because they always seemed disappointed first. I thought rescue meant they loved you more because they always arrived. She looked down. Both may be true. Yes. I hated when they used your name. I hated it too. You never said. I thought saying it would sound like false modesty. She nodded. When Dad said you kept the family standing at dinner, it felt like he erased everything I do. You raised 2 children and work? I know. He praised you in the same speech. I did not hear it. That answer hurt. Not because it accused me, because it showed how resentment edits sound. Brooke had heard the sentence that confirmed her wound and lost the one before it. I had done the same in other ways. I remembered every time Mom rushed to Brooke. I forgot times Mom called me first because she trusted my judgment. We did not need to erase those memories. We needed to stop turning them into invoices. Why did you choose $500 per year? I asked. She looked embarrassed. I saw a therapist online talk about symbolic reparations. Did the therapist recommend Venmo? No. Did she recommend threatening the family group? No. Brooke stirred her coffee. I calculated what I thought the apartment deposit and unequal activities might have cost. The apartment deposit was Grandma's check. I know now. What unequal activities? You had debate camp. It was free through school. I thought they paid. They bought me a bus ticket. Her face reddened. I had dance. 4 years. Mom said Grandma helped. She did. Brooke covered her face for a second. The whole number was wrong. Yes. The feeling was not. No. That distinction changed everything. I did not have to accept the debt to acknowledge the pain. She did not have to deny the money to describe the comparison. I am sorry I requested it, she said. Thank you. I am sorry I threatened to send the story to the family. Thank you. I am sorry I posted online. I nodded. Then she looked at me. Are you sorry for the screenshot? Yes. Her eyes widened. I thought you would say it was justified. It was relevant. I also sent it to hurt you. She looked down. Thank you. We sat quietly. Then she asked, Do you still have the request screenshot? Yes. Of course you do. I keep records. She laughed. This time, the joke did not feel like an accusation. Can you delete it? I thought about that. No. Her smile disappeared slightly. Why? Because I do not trust our family memory yet. She considered it. Fair. I added, I will not share it unless you rewrite the event. Also fair. Boundaries sound cold when people expect instant trust, but trust rebuilt without records is sometimes only amnesia. We finished coffee. Before leaving, Brooke said, I do not want money from you. That is good. I may need advice. That is different. You can say no. Yes. She rolled her eyes. You enjoy that word. I am learning. Our relationship became cautious and practical. She called once to ask how to organize her debt payments. I sent a template, not money. She completed it herself. I called once when I needed someone to drive me home after a medical procedure. She arrived 15 minutes early. No lecture. No reminder that she had children. No score. That ride did more for our relationship than any family speech. Mom struggled more. The repayment note became a monthly reminder that her choices had a cost. She complained to Dad. Dad stopped carrying the complaints to me. That was his growth. He also corrected the estate plan, equal shares, clear language, no secret adjustments. A separate letter explained that lifetime support had differed but would not be relitigated through inheritance. The letter named no favorite. It said, "We made unequal choices based on perceived need. Some choices were necessary, some were unfair, and many were made without sufficient honesty. We do not ask our daughters to settle our parenting through our estate." I read it in David's office. Then I cried. Not because it was perfect, because my father had finally refused to make us finish the argument after he was gone. Mom took longer to sign. She worried Brooke would see equal inheritance as proof the repayment to me was unfair. David told her fairness did not require every outcome to feel equal in every moment. She signed. 6 months after the Venmo request, Dad invited us to dinner. Not a celebration. Not a mediation. Just dinner. Brooke and I arrived separately. Mom had placed no seating plan. Dad cooked. The food was too salty. No one complained. Halfway through the meal, Dad cleared his throat. Both daughters became tense. He noticed. I am not giving a speech. Brooke said, "Thank God." Dad almost smiled. "I want to say one thing." Mom looked down. He continued, "I called Natalie the one who keeps the family standing." Brooke's body tightened. Dad looked at her. That was unfair. Then he looked at me. "It made your work sound like a duty instead of a choice." I had not expected that. He continued. And it made Brooke's work invisible. Brooke's eyes filled. I thought I was praising one daughter. I was comparing both. No one spoke. Dad placed his napkin on the table. "I am sorry." Brooke asked, "Do you think Natalie was your favorite?" Dad looked toward Mom, then answered, "I trusted Natalie's judgment more." Brooke flinched. He did not soften the truth. "I worried about you more," he said. "I rescued you more. I spent more money on you. I also criticized you more, because I was afraid you would fail." He turned to me. "I praised you more. I helped you less, because I was afraid help would make you weaker, which was foolish. I used your strength to excuse my absence." Then he looked at both of us. I do not know which of those is favoritism. I know neither was fair. It was the best answer he could give. Mom began crying. "I loved you equally." Brooke looked at her. "But you treated us differently." "Yes? Why?" Mom wiped her face. "Because you were different. That does not explain taking Natalie's money." Mom closed her eyes. "No." She looked at me. "I thought resources should follow need." "Without limits?" I did not think ahead. "You thought I would be okay." "Yes. And if I had not been." Her face crumpled. "I do not know." That was the truth. There had been no safety plan for me. Only belief. Mom whispered, "I am sorry." I believed she felt sorry. Trust still required more. We ate dessert. No dramatic hug. No complete forgiveness. Just a family staying at the table after the truth. That was new. A year after the Venmo request, Brooke completed her certification in medical billing. She invited us to a small ceremony. Dad gave no speech. Mom brought flowers for both Brooke and the instructor because she could not help herself. I gave Brooke a card. Inside I wrote, "You finished this without rescue. I hope you are proud." She hugged me, then whispered, "Do not tell Dad you used the word proud. He will make a speech." I laughed. Later, Eric told me their debt had fallen by nearly $20,000. They had not needed the $9,400. They had needed a plan, honesty, and time. The emergency had felt impossible because rescue had always arrived before discipline had a chance. My parents completed the first year of repayments on schedule. I did not check the transfer the moment it arrived. That may sound small. For me, it was evidence the money no longer controlled the relationship. I kept Grandma's memorandum in a safe. I kept Dad's spreadsheet too. And yes, I kept the screenshot of the Venmo request. Not as revenge, as a reminder. Emotional pain can be real and still produce an unfair demand. Financial evidence can be true and still fail to measure love. A screenshot can expose hypocrisy, but it cannot heal a family. Only people can do that. Slowly, with specific apologies, with changed systems, with no hidden tabs. People sometimes ask what I would do if Brooke sent the request today. I would decline it. Then I would ask what the money was actually for. That is the difference. At the time, we both used childhood as a weapon. She sent a price. I sent a ledger. Neither of us sent the question underneath. Do you see what happened to me? That was what she wanted. It was what I wanted too. Brooke wanted me to see the years of comparison. I wanted her to see the years of rescue and the money that came from my share. Both could be seen without one canceling the other. The family did not need a favorite. It needed room for two daughters to have different wounds. My sister Venmo requested me $9,400 for 18 years of being the favorite. I sent one screenshot back. The screenshot proved she had received more money. It did not prove I had received less love. It did not prove she had received more. What it proved was that our parents had spent years solving emotional problems with financial decisions and financial problems with silence. Once the records came out, everyone had to stop telling the easiest version. Brooke was not simply the neglected sister. I was not simply the golden child. Mom was not simply generous. Dad was not simply fair. We were a family that had confused capability with invulnerability and need with entitlement. The $9,400 request did not get paid. The mortgage was solved without me. Grandma's money was partly restored. The will became equal. And the next time my family tried to tell me I would be okay, I answered, maybe. But being okay is not the same as being owed less.